All right, this is a very special Leon Live today because it is with Joe Pham, who is the man, the myth, the legend, my board mate at Avixa. And I had a chance to sit next to Joe for several years, beginning in 2016, all the way through that experience of doing our chair role. So Joe, welcome to Leon Live.
Hey, Jeff, great to see you. Thanks for having me on.
Of course, of course. So what people don't know really is that we get a chance outside of those meetings to actually spend some time together. There's chances at shows, of course, the annual board planning meetings and other venues. I've had a chance to get to know your lovely, beautiful family and also witness your guitar skills prominently displayed on the wall. Can I just go 1 second to Jackson Hole, Wyoming? Somebody's got a guitar. Joe takes it and he's like, "Hey, let me get the." And we couldn't take it out of your hands for the next 2 hours.
It was so horrible.
Oh man! I think it was that fly that was like started singing as you played.
Yeah, I could never turn down a guitar, but it was acoustic guitar outdoors. With like, what chords do I know that we could just drum and someone can sing something? But it was a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. So for those of you who don't know, Joe Pham is the chairman and CEO of QSC and has been in the industry for quite some time, is very well-spoken about the AI revolution, which is what we're going to talk about today. But Joe, some people may not know about like your journey into QSC, which I know a little bit. If you could just take a minute and just express to people a little bit more about Joe Pham on his way to QSC. That is, I've always found that fascinating.
Well, I'll keep it short. Yeah, I'll keep it really
because it is a story.
But I mean, obviously, you can see a guitar behind me. I love playing guitar, so I started that in high school, and then did the college thing at UCLA. Did some business consulting at McKinsey and Company, and then it was at that point where I just really wanted to join the industry again. So I resigned from McKinsey with no job, But I was really, really passionate about joining this industry. So. Long story short, I found my way in the industry by really begging to get into the NAMM show, which is local here in my neighborhood, and walked around the NAMM show looking at name tags and met Barry Andrews. That started the conversation, and eventually joined QSC shortly after that. So that was 20 years ago. That was April 2004. So it's been an amazing 20-year ride.
What I love about it is, I mean, highly compressed there, but your McKinsey roots, your love of music, and you're finding your way, like you said, begging into the NAMM show. But it's like, and I've had a chance to get to know your founders as well. And you guys have such a special culture and a love and a passion for music, right? And what drives the art.
Yeah, I mean, it started back in 1968 as a guitar amp company from Pack Filter. So music has always been in the DNA of the organization. But, one thing about it's an amazing culture. We have an amazing team, and we're always transforming and innovating. And so over the 55 plus years, there's been lots of transformations. And obviously, just given how technology transforms the world and markets, we transform with those trends.
It's amazing. So that's the perfect segue into what we're going to talk about today. This conversation could easily go on for hours. We're coming off of the Infocom show and your keynote, and I've had a chance I wasn't able to be there personally because of another event, but I have watched your keynote. I love Dave's intro and the rock star moment of walking on stage was like, I'm clapping for you. You use the keynote titled frequently of the transformative power of AI, and you're talking about this changes everything.
Yeah.
I heard you say when I was at it was at ISE in Barcelona, where you had talked about this is the biggest change perhaps in our lifetime. Just set the stage there, around. That's a big statement coming from you, in particular. Why is this so huge, and why should everybody be paying so close attention to this?
Yeah, it is, and I certainly believe that this is the biggest technological revolution in our lifetime. It's the biggest moment that we've ever had as a humanity in terms of changes in the world, and that's one of the reasons why I actually did that playful look through a million years of history from
Yeah,
fire to AI, and I would summarize it because as intelligence is literally the engine behind all of our creation, right? It's like everything that we have that's led to a higher quality of living, sort of everything that we see in the world. I mean, that stems from intelligence, and AI is the lever on intelligence. So you're getting to a point now where the technology itself is the lever on the most fundamental thing that has been driving innovation in throughout humanity. So I can't underestimate how big the moment is from
yeah,
a long-term impact point of view, and it's going to have impact in every industry. It's going to reshape every industry. We talk about phase shift moments. I don't know if I mentioned that in the keynote, but there's definitely been certain phase shift moments in our lifetime, from the internet to mobile cloud. This is another one of those phase shift moments, and
yeah.
it's actually the biggest one.
So you talk about something that I think is intriguing. There's the AI and AV connection, but it's the human connection that so often people cite as maybe that's the dangerous one, right? Is like if not managed or even controlled to a degree, what does that look like? But you make a case that the human connection actually can be enhanced utilizing AI. And I want to go into that a little bit more. So anybody, how do you see that? What makes you kind of have that base?
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of point of views there. One is simply in the rise of the machine. What could be more important than human connection and what it means to be human, right? And that's where I tied it to sort of our assets as an industry, and then I propose our purpose as an industry was really to leverage these technologies to enhance connection and human experience. And that's a little bit of the we could not have a bigger purpose as an industry. And we control sight and sound, the two most important senses for human connection. We have all of this data, eyes and ears anywhere, and that data is literally observing human connection in real time.
Yeah,
And AI being, sort of fundamentally just centered around data, compute, and the neural networks. I mean, we actually have all the data to actually train AI in a much more humanistic way because we actually have the data of human connection, of human interaction in real time. So there were a few parts of the keynote where I went a little bit deeper into
yeah.
that. Um, it's a remarkable moment for the world, and it's a remarkable moment for our industry. And I think we need, as an industry, take advantage of the moment and really deliver on the purpose of human connection, which we can.
Yeah, we can. And I'm seeing it play out in particular in like voice, in the voice interactive, like learning language modules of how you interact with learning systems.
Yep.
So, yep. One scenario is, just kind of stepping out of commercial for a moment into the residential world. We're seeing, the average homeowner, I shouldn't even say the average, but probably more from the top end down, but homeowners and anybody for that matter are inviting AI technology into their routines,
Yep.
simple things, right?
Mhm. Yeah, it's going to be omnipresent everywhere. I mean, we're getting to a point where we're just going to be speaking and interacting with computers with intelligence behind it, right? I mean, right now, the user interface is either keyboards or touchpads, and
Yeah.
uh, not to get too technical, but the bandwidth of your fingers and thumbs is pretty slow. Okay, so imagine when your bandwidth is literally
Yeah.
your gestures, your voice, and in a very, very transparent way. They're extremely powerful machines, and when the bandwidth between the human and the machine gets increased, magnitude wise, we can do some really amazing things. So that's going to be sort of everyone just leveraging AI in all the ways that they can. And then back to the industry and the human connection, it's like, that human connection can happen anywhere in an enterprise, right? Because we're in this world now where there's always going to be someone on the far end. So human connection in terms of video conferencing in the enterprise, and then human connection all the way down to, I always put the two bookends in our industry as sort of collaboration and live entertainment. So
Yeah.
everything's kind of like sort of in between. But human connection all the way through live entertainment between performer and audience and audience, etc.
I've always believed that collaboration is a stage, so it's like when a call begins, it's the equivalent of the curtain goes up, and our patience level for things that don't function is very, very thin, just like you would if you were in a show. It's like you expect instantaneous everything. So I want to talk about collaboration. That's a really, really good one in the context of the world that we see is collaboration. The technologies, and you guys are at the forefront really of, assistive technologies in multi-camera tracking, what it looks like in boardrooms, in conference rooms, in education and other environments. What's got you the most excited about practical applications of AI in collaboration?
I mean, you just hit on a few of the immediate ones that are there today available, ready? Because without these technologies, if you're on the far end, it it doesn't feel like human connection, right? It feels like you're looking at a screen with a bunch of little faces around, your traditional boardroom thing. But obviously, COVID and the fact that we all adopted these technologies immediately, just so many things. We can see each other's faces on these calls, equity. But now that we have this hybrid situation where there are going to be people in the room, there are going to be people on the far end, you really do need advanced AI technologies to make it feel like transparent. So obviously the computer vision has auto cropping, auto tracking, auto switching. So it actually feels very, very natural, and it will continue to advance to the point where you actually feel like you're in the room. Right?
Yeah.
And that's really where we're trying to get, not just us as a company, but I think that's where the technology will lead.
Well, that's where we're kind of playing together. Is what we're finding is that the boardroom and the high impact room is becoming synonymous with studio, and studio technology is in reach. AI gives you an ability, I think, to kind of have that studio production team that you might not have been able to actually put in place before. Tech is going to do this.
Tech is going to do this, and tech is the most deflationary sort of macro force we have in the world, right? And so it is going to be, you're going to get these really high, natural, high-end experiences in some of the more high impact spaces, etc. But that is going to make its way into every space. So and I'm excited about that. I'm excited that every space will feel very humanistic. I'm excited that we get to a democratization of sort of access to a lot of this, because that's the power of technology. It's extremely deflationary in a world that is very inflationary in other categories.
Yeah. So last question is, you kind of one of the final calls you made in your keynote is like, innovators unite. It's like AV Engers, unite. It's like, what advice would you give to somebody that may not be really harnessing, but is like, look, Joe, I don't know where to start. What would you say? It's like, here's a great way to lean in. This is a great way to get started.
Yeah, there's a few levels there, and one level, there still is a denial level. Some folks are in the denial level, like, oh, this is not a big deal. It's a fad. I would say that's the only wrong position to be in. So, the first thing is getting off of zero if you are on zero. And then if you can get off of zero, I would just say be curious and learn. There's so many, everyone learns differently, whether it's through podcasts or YouTube or papers or the internet. Find your way to learn. And find an exciting and effective way for you to learn, and then develop a set of peers that will share in that enthusiasm with you. So those are all within everyone's reach. And then as you could continue to move up this ladder, then I think it gets a lot more interesting in terms of how do you reinvent yourself as an individual to leverage these tools? How do you reinvent your company if you're in the position to do so? And I think everyone's in a position to have influence in the reinvention of a company. But then that's going to get into a lot more of strategically how do you transform organizations, institutions, etc. But everybody can do step 1 and 2, right?
Yeah.
And then the rest tends to work itself out once you start building momentum there.
Yeah, and I've seen some pretty ingenious ways to go to 1 and 2. For me, it just started with, okay, start introducing AI into my daily routines. And then very quickly we can say, okay, it can go here, it can go here. We play around with it from a design perspective at Leon all the time around, give me this in avant-garde, give me this in deco, give me this in something else. And it's shocking just how good it is, once you teach.
Right? It is unbelievable. And I said this in the keynote, if you watch it, it is shocking how great it is. And Jeff, this is the dumbest AI that you'll ever have to work with the rest of your life.
I like to think of, yes, I remember that. And multiplicity, you remember the versions of you, the copies of you that got dumber? Yeah. We will be the dumbest version of us.
Exactly.
All right, well, Joe, this has been fantastic, super insightful. Thanks for taking a few minutes. We'd love to have you back again. I'm kind of putting together a little bit extended panel of thought leaders in this space and talk a little bit more about it. My question is, what riff are you working on right now? Is there one you're dialing in?
Right now, to be honest, it's not even guitar.
Really?
I'm getting more infatuated with drums again. So, but the latest guitar riff, which is I would say was song. I was really fortunate to be invited to speak at the ABI Systems Summit.
Yeah.
I played with the ABI Systems band the night before the keynote. So
wow.
We had a great time with.
You played drums?
No, that was guitar. That was really in the
air. I saw that.
So that was the latest guitar thing. But now, I don't have any pending guitar gigs coming up. I'm back on drums, trying to figure out how to do some basic stuff.
Okay, you got a home in Detroit. When you come this way, we will figure it out.
Yeah. Get me on drums. We'll pick a song.
Awesome. Thanks, Joe. If you would just hang with me for a moment. Thanks again for taking time today.
Terrific. Thanks, Jeff. Thank you.